Okay, themes in Hamlet, and today we're going to talk about things beginning with M. Okay? Let's look at some things beginning with M. For example, masking. Okay, like that. And mirrors. That begins with M as well. And madness, that begins with M. And what else have we got? Oh, metatheatre, that begins with M. Is there anything else that begins with M? Meaning. Yes, meaning, that begins with M. That's a good one, yeah. Meaning. Let's have some meaning here. Let's talk about that as well. Anything else? No, that's it. That doesn't begin with M. That ends with M. And if you look at it in the mirror, it begins with M. I said mirrors. I said we can have mirrors. So, okay, I don't know. I'll tell you what, we'll compromise with that one. Since M comes at the end, we'll talk about that at the end. Okay? So we'll talk about those things. Masks and mirrors and, all those other things I said. The idea of masking really runs through Hamlet in a very, very central, basic kind of way. Right at the beginning, when he's talking to his mother, he says, I know not seems. Okay, I know not seems. Okay, I'm all about what is, not what seems. He's not happy with the idea of seeming, of pretending, of acting a part, of being a mask. And so we want to take a look a little bit at the actual context in which he says this. He says, I have that within which passeth show. I've got something that goes beyond just pretending. Let's take a look at the speech. Good Hamlet, says the Queen. Cast thy nighted colour off. Stop looking so sad. And let thine eye look like a friend on Denmark. Do not forever with thy veiled lids seek for thy noble father in the dust. Thou knowest 'tis common. All that lives must die, passing through nature to eternity. Aye, madam, it is common. Well, if it be, why seems it so particular with thee? And here's when he says, Seems, madam? Nay, it is. I know not seems. 'Tis not alone my inky cloak, good mother, nor customary suits of solemn black, all the way people dress when there's a funeral, nor windy suspiration of forced breath, no, nor the fruitful river in the eye, the way people cry when there's a funeral or somebody dies, nor the dejected haviour of the visage, looking sad, together with all forms, moods, shows of grief that can denote me truly. I'm not, all those things, these indeed seem, for they are actions that a man might play. All right, there's where we get the metatheatre coming in. But I have that within which passeth show, these but the trappings and the suits of woe. I've got the real thing inside me, okay? And actions that a man might play, metatheatre, that we go through life acting, pretending, playing a part. All right? And these themes of masks, of metatheatre, of life as a kind of drama, these themes go all the way through Hamlet. They're very deep in Shakespeare in general. All right? Not just in Hamlet. I mean, it's part of what Shakespeare does. He talks about these themes constantly in his works. When the actors, you remember, who come to do a drama to perform for the king and at the court, when they come, he is astonished. Hamlet is astonished that they can show such passion Is it not monstrous that this player here, but in a fiction, in a dream of passion, could force his soul so to his own conceit that from her working all his visage waned, tears in his eyes, distraction in his aspect, of open voice, and his whole function suiting with forms to his conceit, and all for nothing. I mean, there's nothing there, it's just acting, he's just putting it all on, it's a show. And he's supposed to be mourning the death of Hecuba, but it's not for Hecuba. I mean, well, what's Hecuba to him, or he to Hecuba, that he should weep for her? He doesn't know Hecuba. Hecuba's dead a long time ago. Hecuba's just somebody in the play that he's acting. And yet this actor can have all that passion, all that sense of drama. And it's only just acting. It's only just pretending. Nobody has really died. There's no real grief. There's nothing really to feel sorry for. How do we live in this world with such pretense? Okay? All that passion and emotion, and it's all just acting. How can the actors do that? How can they express all that emotion and grief? And when it's only just, something imaginary, something that's not really, there's nothing real there at all. It's all just nothing. But hang on a minute. Hamlet's also an actor, isn't he? I mean, this is a drama that we're watching. This is on the stage. Hamlet it's an actor there who's dressed up as Hamlet. I mean, the actor hasn't really lost a father. The actor, his mother hasn't really married his uncle. So it all gets kind of very weird, doesn't it? What is reality here? Where do people begin and stop pretending? Just inside, on the stage, up on the stage, but to the audience as well. What about the audience? I mean, can they show their real feelings? Do they also have to wear a mask? Well, what's their situation? So we move out from, theatre, drama, into metatheatre, and out onto the stage of the world, out into society and real life. And the Elizabethan age was an age of censorship. It was an age when people could not express their true feelings, just like we saw with the gravediggers there. Hey, you be careful when you make a joke about the gallows being, stronger than the church. That could get you into trouble, that could. Okay, even a joke, all right? People had to be careful, and when it came to saying their true feelings, they had to be even more careful. All right? Of course, a lot of that would be for religion, but also for political reasons. You had to be very careful what you said in the Elizabethan period. So, religion and politics were especially sensitive, and of course, as we've seen on this course, it was, religion, was such a driving thing that a lot of people are tempted to see hidden religious messages and political ones, but we focus more on the religious ones in Shakespeare's work, so that we get, Hamlet seen through the eyes of people like Peter Millward, who at this very moment is either having tea or having his afternoon siesta over there in S.J. House. And who is a very respectable Shakespeare scholar up to a certain point. Okay, for me, I don't quite agree with his conclusions, but what he's saying, that there is some masking going on, that's for sure. What I think is difficult to know is what's behind the mask. For Father Millward, for Professor Millward, when Hamlet says, "But break my heart, for I must hold my tongue," which is what he says at the end of that opening speech when he's there by himself and he's saying, how could my mother do such a thing as that? But I can't talk about it. I mustn't make a big show about it. Okay? And for those people who believe that Shakespeare was a Catholic, well, that would be a Catholic message. I can't talk about my secret religion. But if you look at the speech just in its context, all that Hamlet is saying that he has to keep silent about his grief for his father because others will criticize him, and it might even be dangerous, all right, to show too much grief for his father in this situation. People are rejoicing that Claudius has married the queen. People are rejoicing that Claudius is the new king. To keep on moaning and whining and crying for his father could attract dangerous negative attention. But it's more than that even, because in those days it was pretty normal not just to have to hide your feelings about your religion, but also to have to hide your feelings about the mourning the dead. All right? You have to have faith in God, and you have to believe that good people are going to go to heaven. All right? So it's a sign that you don't really believe that if you grieve excessively for the dead. We get, for example, Ben Jonson writing in a poem about exactly that subject. He that fears death or mourns it in the just shows of the resurrection little trust. The resurrection is the coming back to life in heaven, coming back to eternal life. And Jesus Christ resurrected, brought back to earth to save all of us. So the person who mourns for the dead is showing that he doesn't really believe in Jesus Christ, which is pretty serious in those days. If you were considered to be an atheist, then Catholics and Protestants would both hate you. Okay, and you could be in danger for just not believing in the religion. So I would say that Hamlet is masking his grief at his father's death for the same reasons as Elizabethans generally masked their grief, because it showed a bad feeling about the religion. But also, of course, in this situation, in the political situation, he should not be crying for the old king, he should be celebrating the new one. And the situation would call on him to wear a mask, to make a pretense. And that's the whole point. If he makes a strong display of his grief, if he shows his sadness, then it's showing a lack of trust in God's mercy. It's also showing a lack of respect for Claudius as king. The second one might actually be more dangerous than the first. But the point is that, whatever his reason for holding his tongue, he does hold his tongue. And that picks out a basic irony in the play. Because, if he's holding his tongue, he himself is also wearing a mask. And if he is wearing a mask, then he does know seems, doesn't he? He says, I know not seems, miru to wa wakaranai. But he does know seems. He knows what pretending is all about. He is pretending all the way through the play. Okay? He's pretending, he's hiding his grief for his father's death, and he's also, of course, pretending to be mad, although by the end of the play maybe he really is mad. It's not quite clear, but at the beginning he does seem to be pretending. So, however much he claims that he has that within which passes show, he is also putting on a show all the way through the play. So this is where you get the kind of metatheatre element that all the world's a stage. There's no way out of it. There's no escape from it. Wherever you turn, you're always putting on a show of some kind or another. So from the point where he's hiding his true feelings about his father's death, to the point where he's pretending to be mad so that his revenge can, his plans for revenge can go without being discovered. He's constantly seeming. He's constantly wearing a mask and showing himself as something other than what he truly is. And these masks and the whole nature of acting are things that Shakespeare constantly uses as metaphors for human life. Hamlet, when he's talking to the actors, says that the purpose of life is to hold as 'twere the mirror up to nature. Okay, mirrors, that's another of the things beginning with M that I was going to talk about. So he's got hold the mirror up to nature, to show virtue her own image, scorn her own image, and the very age and body of the time, his form and pressure. So he's making it clear here that yes, my play may be set in 9th century Denmark, but that's not what it's really about. It's about you guys. It's about this society that we're living in. All right? It's got coded messages in it. But of course they have to be coded because, we can't speak openly in this society. And that's one of the fascinations of Shakespeare. Like, we don't have a code book. We don't have a book that tells us what the translation of those codes was. We're kind of guessing quite often and debating, and that's one of the things that scholars are still arguing about. What exactly was the coded message? All right, and that would be one of the arguments, about Shakespeare was a Catholic, but other people saying no. The reason they can still argue is because it's all in code. These plays are a kind of code. All right, this is sort of the fact that you don't get an ultimate answer, that you can't in the end get an answer, is probably a big reason for the fascination. And it's not just that art is imitating life, life is imitating art. Okay? It's not just on the stage that you may smile and be a villain. It's going on in real life. And of course people model themselves on the stories they read. They feed back into the lives that they've had. It's a two-way interaction. It's not just art imitating nature, but once nature sees art, nature starts to imitate the art. So that it's a two-way process. And Oscar Wilde very famously kind of pointed that out. So all the world's the stage. Okay, let's take a look at this speech. All the world's the stage. And all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances. And one man in his time plays many parts, his acts being 7 ages. At first the infant, mewling and puking in the nurse's arms. Then the whining schoolboy with his satchel and shining morning face, creeping like snail unwillingly to school. And then the lover, sighing like furnace with a woeful ballad made to his mistress' eyebrow. Then a soldier, full of strange oaths and bearded like the pard, jealous in honour, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking the bubble reputation even in the cannon's mouth. And then the justice, in fair round belly with good capon line, with eyes severe and beard of formal cut, full of wise saws and modern instances, and so he plays his part. And the 6th stage shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon with spectacles on nose and pouch on side, his youthful hose, well saved, a world too wide for its shrunk chant, and his big, manly voice turning again towards childish treble, pipes and whistles in his sound. Last scene of all that ends this strange, eventful history is second childishness, a mere oblivion. Sans teeth, sans meaning without, sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything, losing. So the 7 ages of man. And our life is a kind of drama that's unfolding, and we're all the principal characters in our own drama. So we get this idea coming across in not just in Hamlet, but in many of Shakespeare's works. This being, of course, Jack in As You Like It, which is a comedy, one of Shakespeare's comedies. Okay, all the world's the stage. And like everything, pretty much everything in Shakespeare is not original. Even the story of Hamlet is not original. They say that Shakespeare never had an original story in his life. Okay, nearly all of his plots come from somewhere. This is a Scandinavian tale that was written down in the 12th century and translated. Shakespeare got access to it, but like all of these things that he uses, the idea of the world as a stage, the idea of life as a play with 7 acts, these things are not new. It's not as if, oh, that's Shakespeare. No, that's the early modern period. That's the Renaissance. It was obsessed with these kinds of things. In fact, the first idea about the world as a stage, we get going back into Roman times. Both of the ideas were popular in the Renaissance period, and the idea that art imitates or mirrors life, well, that comes from Aristotle, really, probably the first reference we have to it in Western culture. It's not Shakespeare. And so really Shakespeare is not somebody who brings new ideas. What he does is he's synthesizing old ones. He's kind of taking old ideas and working them through. But that's really what a lot of literature is about. If you want something new, go and read a newspaper. Literature will tend to give you the same themes again and again, just worked through in different ways. And that's where he comes out strongly in taking these old themes but giving them new twists. So that in Hamlet you've got the themes of masking and metatheatre, but then you've got them mixed with another thing beginning with M, you've got them mixed with the madness. All right, so he comes up with a new ingredient here, or a different ingredient. So the idea that behind the mask, behind the play, is there anything at all? Or is it just nothing? Okay, like he said, the actor, behind that, it's all for nothing. There's nothing there. And in Macbeth, we get that link between metatheatre, madness, and meaninglessness, the lack of meaning. In Macbeth, when he realizes that his wife has died and his ambitions are crumbling to dust, Macbeth says, "Life's but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing." All right, life's but a walking shadow. Right? And the whole thing, all the noise and shouting and all the drama, in the end, it signifies nothing. There's a sort of nihilism at the heart of all of this, especially in a villain like Macbeth, because he's lost all hope of purity. He's the bad guy. So, like the objects in a mirror, shadows are reflections. They show the real world in a reflection, but just like the mirror, the shadow is something that Shakespeare plays with by confusing us, by which is the mask, which is the dream, which is the shadow, which is the reflection, and which is the reality. Where are we supposed to stand so that we're on solid ground? A dream itself is but a shadow, says Hamlet in speaking to Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. He says it like this. He tells them that I could be bounded in a nutshell and count myself a king of infinite space were it not that I have bad dreams. So, it's just dreams shape my reality. It would be fine. I would just be inside a tiny little space, but I would feel myself king of a hugeness. But I have bad dreams. And Guildenstern says, well, yeah, but those dreams, those are dreams of ambition, that you want something more than just being bounded in a nutshell. And the very substance of the ambitious is merely the shadow of a dream. And Hamlet comes back saying, well, yeah, but a dream is itself a shadow. And Rosencrantz points out that, okay, well, he agrees with that, but he holds ambition so airy and light that it's just a shadow of a shadow. So they're kind of playing here, shadows of shadows, and where's the reality in all of this? And Hamlet says, well, if you think about it like that, then, the beggars are the real things, and the kings are the shadows of the beggars, because the beggars don't have ambition. The kings have ambition. So they are the shadows, and the real things are the beggars. So he turns the world upside down and challenges the normal social order, that the kings are just the shadows of beggars. All right, now if he said something like that openly and straightforwardly, Shakespeare could get himself in a lot of trouble in those days. But he says it through Hamlet, who's supposed to be kind of mad, and he says it through a kind of strange logic that kind of gives him a chance to put across quite a kind of kakume, sort of revolutionary message. And then, okay, I said we'd talk about dreams, and they've cropped up a little bit through this talk, but let's have a look more closely at dreams, what dreams may come, as he says in the famous "to be or not to be" speech. He's not just turning the values of this world upside down through all of this imagery with the shadows and the dreams and the masks and the mirrors, but he's also questioning the nature of life and death in itself. To die, he says, to sleep, perchance to dream. Aye, there's the rub, for in that sleep of death, what dreams may come, when we have shuffled off this mortal coil, must give us pause. What dreams may come? Of course, the dream of heaven or the dream of hell. And is it reality, or is it just a dream? Or, oh my God! I mean, for these people, it's very real. Okay? It's very real. All right? But so's the other one.